everyone. This is your girl Trey Lou in the house. I have John Harrison in the building. Hey, John. Good morning.
Good morning to you guys and the listeners. How you guys doing today?
And again, I'm assuming they're saying yes. They better say yes if they're hearing us, hearing this voice right here, because somebody didn't make it up, wake up this morning, John. First,
Absolutely.
we want to talk about this book you have written, "The Conception Created Significance." And I told you when you came in, I haven't been able to put this book down.
Awesome.
And since I received the book, these things have just been going haywire. So I'm going to go through the book. I don't want to give everything away to everyone, but there must be something good in this book. And you said when you got the book, there's some things that happened to you as well. So let's talk about how this book came about.
Okay. Well, first and foremost, thank you guys for having me, and especially thank you for the platform to be able to speak to your listeners. And I got the idea for the book in 2015. I had went through one of the worst times of my life. I call myself at that time a successful failure. I had just recently relocated, had made plans, and about to be newly married, and had a company hire me, and then later just get ghost on me. And I had made all my plans around moving to this new place, around this new opportunity, this new income. Yep, exactly. So. Went through that and went through depression and feeling like a failure, but I had all these degrees and all this stuff, so that's where the successful failure comes. So in an attempt to continue to make myself better and become a good provider and protector for my wife, I decided, okay, go ahead and get back in school and go ahead and continue to reach towards your doctorate, because I had initially put that to the side. And so I was taking this class, developmental psychology class, and it was really deep, and it talked about how people go from birth to death and the maturation in between. And so in the midst of reading the chapters and doing research papers, God gave me a title, and the title was Conception Created Significance. And because you figure out all the different things your body as a female has to go through to bear a child, like all the different things. And I'm saying to myself, well, if that's the case, if that person has to go through all that, and one person comes from all those different options, then it has to be a reason that we're here. And so that's why I came up with the title Conception Created Significance. And I like to tell people it was chaos that created my creativity in the time that I was in.
Amen. And then now we're speaking about the importance of the conception, because like you were saying in your book, people think that your birthday is actually the day when you come out and you get air and oxygen of the world. But when I read in the book about that, I'm thinking like, I was ready to start calculating when my birthday was. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I mean, it's just truly. I mean, it's the truth.
Yeah.
We don't want to. We definitely don't want to get too depth about it in the book. We want people to to look and to read the book. So let's talk about the second chapter, which is importance versus significance. Because a lot of people, they are important, but they don't know the significance of them being important. Let's talk about that a little bit.
So, without giving away too much, when you think about importance and significance, some people use them interchangeably. And when I kind of start to research it and figure out what the two different definitions were, and I was like, okay, so importance is explicitly meaning you're important to yourself. It doesn't necessarily mean that you've helped somebody do something. So
Right.
it's implicit to self-success. But when I looked up significance, it was implicit to helping and ensuring the success of others. And so however you do that through your gift and your purpose, I figured like, okay, so if we can all be important and still there be problems in the world, then that importance really doesn't mean a whole lot. But if we can be significant and we can change different people's perceptions, different perspective, and different people's positions, and help them grow and go through things, then that's what significance really is. And that's kind of what we should go after. Because a lot of times we're conditioned to go after importance. In school they tell you, what do they tell you? Go to school, get a good grade. So
They don't tell you what happens after
no,
you go to school.
they don't tell you what happens. And so that's kind of where I got that from. I figured instead of me chasing importance, I wanted the important position so I can have the important salary. Let me figure out how I can be significant to the people directly around me, and how I can teach them how to help the people directly around them, and then all of the other things will come.
Right. So it sounds like when I was reading that, when you were talking, it sounds like it's almost like selfless or selfish or selflessness.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
I mean, you know, some people can know that they're important, and then they just leave it at that, knowing
Absolutely.
that. Say, if you have someone that has went through a traumatic experience, such as yourself and such as myself,
Absolutely.
and that it can help other people, do you keep it to yourself, or do you utilize that to help someone else? I mean, it could be somebody. I know you're a wellness coach as well that is dealing with weight loss or something like
Absolutely.
that. And I mean, I myself had problems with my weight throughout my lifetime, and I use that as a foundation or as a tool to help other people to say that yeah, you can get through. I mean, it doesn't matter who they are, what size they are. They could be a youth, a child or an adult. I just use that, and that's the importance of it to me.
Absolutely.
I don't anything that happens to me, I don't take it as something for me.
Yeah.
I take it for it being significant to someone else.
Absolutely.
That's why God chose me.
Absolutely.
Because He knows that I have a voice.
Absolutely.
Some people go through things and they just feel like, oh, I'm just going to keep it to myself.
Yeah,
Which makes what they are going through not significant to them.
Absolutely.
But
Absolutely.
if they speak out, then it's significant to others in the world around them. Is that, am I right
You're
about that?
exactly right. You're 100% right.
Thank you for the book. Thank you for just, thank you for just pouring. I mean, you poured into me, and this is pouring out.
Absolutely.
So it's doing what the seed is being planted, and I thank you for that.
Thank you.
So, what would you say right now to someone that doesn't know their importance versus their significance?
What I'll say is, most of us, for a large period of time, we're taught that the importance that we'll have or the things that we acquire through life will create our importance. Like I said, the degrees and the jobs and the careers, and so because we are conditioned that way, when you do hit a position of tragedy or trauma, if you can find some triumph within that, or if you can find out how to triumph within that, then you can kind of jump the hump from, I need to feel important to significance. And one of the things that I really wanted to communicate, this book was written directly for millennials, directly for men.
Right on time.
Yep, directly for men, and then all of those who suffered through collateral damage with those two groups. And you just look at where we are now in the world. Like, millennials are directly under attack, and for myself personally, I felt every single time I heard a person say the millennials are just so lazy. And I'm like, no, that's not necessarily true, because I did everything you guys told me to do and it didn't work out the way that you told me to work out. And then you have men who are attacked with their masculinity through, not being able to provide for their families, and who want to do it the right way. And so you have so many people who are, those things really shape us, because the importance that we think we are supposed to have, it's on God gives us the ability and it really an assignment to really reach significance, which are levels above importance, if that makes
One
sense.
thing too, John, I think that although people always say, your mother say, well, we didn't do that back in our day, but this is the day that we are in now, so we do have some significance, whether you're 30, 40, or 50 at
Absolutely.
this time. Everybody has a significant time in God's eyes.
Absolutely.
I wasn't like, my mom or like, the people that are older than me.
Yeah.
So right now, this is my time to be significant. This is for other people as well.
Absolutely. What I like to tell people, based on the experience that I got writing the book, don't limit your significance to visibility. A lot of people think, my significance is this large platform and I got to be on the stage to do this large work where everybody can see it. And that's not always necessarily the case. Different things that we've gone through. There are people in our lives that are significant that nobody knows. And I'll take it to, I think it's chapter 2. Not chapter 2. I was reading Up From Slavery, which is an autobiography of Booker T. Washington. And we all know how significant he was and how great of a man he was. He founded Tuskegee University. He's, one of the first black self-made millionaires because of what he did. But I like to tell people, in his significance, there was somebody who was more significant than he was that was responsible, and it was his brother. And people say, well, what did his brother do? Well, his brother, when he was young, they used to have this stuff called flax, which was a material, really tough, thorny material that they made shirts out of. And Booker said, he's like, this material was so tough, I never wanted to wear it. Even in the wintertime, I would have rather to go outside with no shirt. So what if Booker had gone outside with no shirt on, got pneumonia? In that time, not a lot of doctor or not a lot of medical attention could be given to a slave. And what his brother did was say, you know what? let me wear down this flax for you. Let me wear this shirt. I'm gonna give you the shirt that's already worn down. I'll take the pain for you because I know you need to get to a bigger place. And so that's a lot of what significant really is, the sacrifice you can make for somebody else to get to another place. And then when he came back around to Hampton University, he brought his brother there to get educated and then become a part of Tuskegee University as well.
And I love the way you did the first chapter where you had Harriet Tubman and Harriet Tubman and how you give the significance of Harriet Tubman.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And Nat Turner as well.
Nat Turner, yes, I love that.
Yeah.
That's something that should be taught in school.
Absolutely. Nobody.
This is Black History Month, so let's give a little blurb of that.
For sure. For sure.
This is Black History Month. This is time because I've never heard it said in a better way than you put it in this book.
For sure.
Let's just give it a little quick little.
Oh, okay. Awesome. No, for sure. Well, chapter 2 is, again, like we talked about, important versus significance. And so just instead of giving people words, I want to give people stories and real life examples. And so we talked about Harriet Tubman, but I begin and I tell the story of what her name was before people knew her as Harriet Tubman. I talk about how she got hit in the head as a young kid, by mistake, and it caused traumatic brain injury to the point where she could be walking just like you or I and just forget what she was or just faint. Yeah, and so that, to me, Harriet and all that she did, the slaves that she freed, she never lost a slave. I felt as if that was a significant work because she could have been selfish and said, you know what, I'm gonna get free from myself, but with my condition, I'm not going back because I can put myself in harm's way. And so to me, that was significance. And see, I not necessarily put her against Nat Turner, but I just compared the two. Nat Turner to me was important because he also led a revolution and a revolt to kind of help free the minds and free the bodies of people. But in my opinion, his legacy was short-lived because I don't think he had the foresight to think long game like Harriet did. Harriet didn't go about it in a violent way to create such a revolt where people would uprise and start a war. She did it in which way she made relationships along the trail or along the.
That's despite of her having this brain.
Exactly.
So
exactly.
It was like, okay, yeah, I have this brain thing going on, but still, I still can think and have this significance.
Absolutely, I can be.
Allow that brain, her being hit over the head, to stop her from achieving what God had her.
Absolutely. I mean, just think about it. I mean, she would have been in perfect order to be selfish. Like, she would have been in perfect order to make it to the north and be with her husband and say, I'm done, because, she needed to take care of herself. But she decided there was something within that said, you know what, there's some people that I know I can pull and I know they have. Yeah, you go. So significance is also very, very related to love as well.
Amen. I thank you for that, John. That really, really touched me. I was reading, and then I was getting a little distracted. Something happened. I don't know. And I was like, wait, who is this talking to? Then when you told me you were talking about, I'm like, oh, okay. Then everything started to click. So the book is, like I said, it's Conception Created Significance, and it's written in a way to where it'll help you to grow as you read the book.
Absolutely.
Each chapter. It's like it's building blocks.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
It's very well written.
Thank you.
And so we were talking about the book, and we want to. I know people saying wellness on the end of this morning. So let's talk about wellness and where we are today. For people, because there are a lot of people struggling with weight, and I know you're a trainer. And
Absolutely.
You also cook too. I was blessed to get a taste of that at Grace. So thank you for that as well.
Thank you.
So let's talk about where people stand at today. We know there's people that have been through a lot. There's people that have had to cut cords, cut their costs and eat the non-healthy food because their money is not stretching.
Absolutely.
What would you say to that person that needs to stretch their money as far as them eating healthy? What would you kind of give them?
The biggest thing that I found as a wellness coach and to help people, be fit or healthy and also stay within the means of their financial budget is a lot of times when we buy foods or we try to buy healthy foods, because we're so used to eating the processed foods or getting the quick food, we'll buy groceries with this money and then we'll still eat or we'll still buy meals on the go. So I tell people, if you really did a case study on how much healthy foods cost, it's a lot cheaper than what the real food, or the processed foods. If you stay on the outer aisles of the grocery store, if you can do that, you'll find that it's a lot cheaper. Now the problem comes when you don't cook it immediately, or you don't eat it and you let, you buy broccoli and it stays in the fridge for 4 or 5 days. Broccoli is such a real food.
Briefly after that.
Yeah. So, I tell people, buy exactly what you eat. That's one tip I can give. Buy exactly, or eat exactly what you buy. If you go to the grocery store and buy that food because you're on a specific plan, eat that food. Don't go out and say, oh, let me just stop by Panera Bread because I'm running late or I didn't prep.
Don't go to the grocery store hungry.
Absolutely, that's another one too. That's a big one. Even I have to, make sure I don't do that as well. So that's another thing. I'll tell people, make sure you eat things that are colorful. Your plate, when you look at your plate when you're eating, in terms of wellness, it should look like the rainbow in terms of greens and orange and your potatoes and stuff like that.
Pretty.
Yeah, it should look like an array of absolutely.
And another thing, John, what people don't realize is they think they're getting those going out and eating those fast foods. So if you eat all the healthy foods, your weight is down. Your health is good. Less bills, less going to the hospital, less medications.
Absolutely.
So they're eating, versus eating all those unhealthy snacks. Cholesterol's up, medicine, you have to buy medicine, you have hospital bills, and so it's
extremely expensive. Absolutely. So I tell people all the time, you're either gonna pay it up front or you're gonna pay it on the back end. And for most of us who are in the wellness industry or have a coach or a trainer or on this plan that we think may be expensive, if you look at what it costs you now versus how much it costs each day in the ICU, you'll be like, oh wow, it's pennies on the dollar. It's
It sure is.
Yeah.
Well, John, as we get ready to wrap this up, I want you to let the viewers, and not viewers, but some viewers may see it later, but listeners know how they can get in contact with you regarding your book and as well as health.
You can get in contact with me via my website. My website is www.ccsthebook.com. That's 2 C's, 1 S, thebook.com. Spell it out. There's a contacts tab on that website. Whatever question you have, anything that you want to know about, you can contact me for the book. There's also my wellness website. It's www.pe4lives. That's PE, the number 4, lives.com. PE4livesnow.com. So there's a contacts tab on there. My number is on there. My social media, all that good stuff is on there. You can find me on Facebook at John Harrison Jr., Coach John J in parentheses. Instagram is at Coach John J. And all of that stuff is the same, it's connected. So wherever you look out there, if you find me on Facebook, it'll take you right to my Instagram. If you find me on my website, it'll take you right to Google. Everything is connected.
Any shout outs that you want to give to any of your family and friends?
Absolutely. My wife, Shay, she probably will hear this later. Definitely Dr. Christopher Chappelle at Grace, who is
Dr. Chappelle and Shay, how are you? Good morning, and God bless you.
Yeah, and just the listeners and the viewers, we just want to make sure that we help empower you guys to get through whatever you have to get through on your journey.
And this is the time. You don't have to wait till tomorrow. You can do it today.
Absolutely.
You start with your lunch and your dinner tonight.
Absolutely.
Let's get healthy, y'all. It's John Harrison with us with his book. Again, it's called Conception Created Significance. Go to the website he provided and you'll get more information. John, I thank you for spending some time with me, about half an hour, which is a blessing. Some people don't get time to spend with anybody.
Absolutely.
For any time, and it's truly a blessing to spend time with you and get to know about the book and to have the book and to get knowledge about my significance versus my importance. I'm truly encouraged.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.